Kindly don't cut his leg off." My grandson shouted out, tears gushing down his cheeks. "Sir, you fell into a diabetic coma." The specialist let me know as I squinted my eyes open, befuddled and terrified. My significant other was perched by my emergency clinic bed holding my hand. Her eyes were red and she looked stressed. She was begging the doctor. "It would be ideal if you help us. There must be something you can do to spare his leg." I was in a vigorously sedated shock. In any case, I could pretty much make out that the specialist needed to remove my leg. "We've done everything we can to balance out him," the specialist advised her, but it would seem that it's past the point of no return. I could barely handle it. I was hours from losing my leg to diabetes. I was 59 and had become a pleased granddad just because. I had plans to make the most of my retirement. To invest energy with family and travel the world with my significant other, Linda. I was unable to do any of this with one leg. My life, as I was already aware, it would end in a flicker of an eye. I'd be in a wheelchair at my child's wedding in a couple of months' time. I'd done everything my primary care physician instructed me to. What's more, presently, in light of the fact that I was one of the 30 million Americans with diabetes, this horrific disease was going to rob me of my retirement and put me in a wheelchair for life. Diabetes had crushed my body and made me a captive to my drug. The specialist clarified that my leg should have been sawn off and the surgery was extremely dangerous. There could be difficulties. In any case, what he said next was a lot of more awful. "You fell into a hyperosmolar non-ketotic trance state. Your glucose level was the most noteworthy I've at any point seen here when the paramedics got you. It's simply because of their snappy reaction that you don't have mind harm." What he said next hit me like a huge amount of blocks. We must be clear around a certain something. Next time you won't be so lucky. Furthermore, except if you fix your glucose, that time could be when 1 week from now. So for what reason am I revealing to you this? I'm revealing to you this since I lived to tell the story. I reversed my type 2 diabetes and you can too. What's more, it was all gratitude to my cute 4-year-old grandson, Lucas. He spared my life. In those days when I was lying in the emergency clinic, going to have my leg cut away, I thought nothing about this lethal illness but to take my drug. However, this brush with death was what constrained me on the far-fetched venture that switched my sort 2 diabetes and changed my life until the end of time. Since that day, I've found the logical verification that you can invert your sort 2 diabetes. In a minute you'll see the proof with your own eyes. You can be certain it's not what you think. Disregard what you've caught wind of diabetes, since it's not brought about by your hereditary qualities or your family ancestry, your age, your weight, or even eating in excess of sugar or carbs. Reality, as indicated by a leap-forward American investigation from the University of Utah, is that the reason for diabetes type 2 is a modest lipid particle that causes your fat cells to go haywire. This molecule forces toxic fat cells to stream into your blood. The dangerous fat at that point adheres to your pancreas, liver and heart, choking out your indispensable organs and hardening your corridors. Remain with me for the following couple of moments of this short article, since I will uncover how to focus on this main driver of diabetes type 2 with a groundbreaking mix of fixings. I'll additionally give you how the untrustworthy pharmaceutical organizations have set up a sharp snare to shroud this data and stunt you into taking their drugs for an incredible remainder. Also, I'm going to share the specific strategy that switched my diabetes and helped me shed 42 pounds of risky fat surprisingly fast by enacting a diabetes turning around instrument that all of us has. The arrangement is as straightforward as devouring a mix of supplements that target and kill the underlying driver of diabetes type 2. Anyone can utilize this healthful technique. Regardless of in case you're 40, 50, 60, 70 or even 80 years old. In case you're a man or a lady. Regardless of on the off chance that you've had diabetes for a long time or 10 days. I ensure that you can securely utilize this leap forward technique yourself. What's more, regardless of whether you just prevail with regards to getting your glucose leveled out, it'll be justified, despite all the trouble. I was incredulous about difficult it myself, however with death gazing me square in the face, I was prepared to have a go at anything. What's more, express gratitude toward God I did on the grounds that currently I'm liberated from diabetes. Liberating myself from diabetes allowed me to rebuild my life. I presently have the opportunity to do anything I desire. I have the vitality to play with my grandson, and the greater part of all, I'll never need to take my weakening medicine again. This achievement technique has now helped 37,839 diabetes type 2 sufferers free themselves from the sickness. Individuals like William, 64 from Massachusetts, who wrote to state, "Much obliged to you, such a great amount for sharing your diabetes type 2 video. I am happy that I remained to watch it until the end in light of the fact that with your definite technique I had the option to free myself of my sort 2 diabetes in just 5 weeks. I used to feel like a weight to my family, frightened of kicking the bucket, a hopeless demise alone. However, now I don't require my prescriptions and I can eat anything I desire, including treat." William. Or on the other hand, Jessica, 52 from North Carolina, who says, "Greetings George. Keeping in touch with you from excursion in Hawaii. The technique you shared online helped me to settle my glucose and lower it to satisfactory levels. What's more, that is not all, since I additionally shed 36 pounds and I'm a similar size as I was at 29. I was suspicious about your answer from the outset, yet I'm enchanted I checked out it. I'm thoroughly liberated from the everyday torments I had with my diabetes, for example, horrendous reactions from drug and eating dull dinners. It changed my life, sparing me a fortune in clinical costs all the while. And all since I was fortunate enough to discover your technique. Jess. You're about to see exactly how to reverse your diabetes type 2. What's more, when you perceive how these individuals switch their sort 2 diabetes, you'll wish you'd got some answers concerning it years prior. You don't think about this disclosure that switches diabetes, since specialists won't talk about it. It's not new medicine. It is anything but an enhancement. It is anything but an accident diet. It's in no way like that. The effortlessness of this arrangement will shock you and possibly anger you. Give close consideration and read this article until the end, since it will be brought down in days and you can't discover this data anyplace else. The $325 billion diabetes industry is irate about it and is compelling me with legitimate dangers to evacuate it. The main reason to pay attention to everything I say is because what I am about to reveal will transform your entire life. Before we find a good pace can switch your diabetes type 2 for good, I need to uncover some basic data about diabetes that will stun you. The vast majority think nothing awful will transpire in the event that they have diabetes. They think they'll be fine on the off chance that they take their prescription. No one thinks they're going to have a limb amputated, drop into a diabetic coma, or go blind. Yet that is the thing that this illness does to individuals like us. Most specialists don't tell their patients how dangerous diabetes type 2 can be. They would prefer not to stress the general population. However, did you know a sort 2 diabetic has a 1 out of 6 possibility of falling into a diabetic trance-like state? What's more, did you realize that 1 out of 4 diabetics have an appendage severed? What about losing your visual perception? Diabetic retinopathy is an eye sickness that deteriorates, seeing 40.3% of diabetics in the USA. Increasingly more of us every day succumb to the lies of the incredible diabetes industry, as I did. In any case, regardless of whether losing your leg is horrendous, it deteriorates in light of the fact that diabetes prompts blindness, heart disease, stroke, dementia, kidney failure, and even cancer.